Geoff Moxham, welcome to the generator.
Thanks, good to be here.
You've got a can full of charcoal to show us.
I do, all sorts of samples that I've charred in my fuel stove, and I didn't actually put this in, but this is what you can do in your own fuel stove. Just get a tin with a fitting lid, punch a hole in the top, and believe it or not, in here we've got something that I charred only this morning, and it's a piece of cannabis sativa, I believe.
There you are, a stem of hemp.
A stem of hemp. I use it for drawing charcoal. It makes wonderful drawing charcoal. Trying to explain how there is charcoal basis to so many things behind what we see. That's a bit of a tree fern. This is an old an army bag. There's a presta in it there, but everything that used to be army bag is now turned into charcoal, and it just turns back to powder if you char it properly in a pyrolysis device. There's a belt buckle still with this bit of webbing on it, and so all this would normally compost back to the air to CO2 and methane within 2 or 3 years, but now that's set for 1,500, thousands of years probably.
So one of the things about charcoal is that it's primarily carbon.
Primarily carbon, yeah. Well, charcoal is about 96%, 98% carbon. What's left over when you burn in your fire, the white ash, that's the other 4 to 5% of minerals that are in there.
And so the advantage about producing charcoal from these organic objects is that you're left with the fairly pure carbon which we can bury, and that way we've sequestered carbon dioxide out of all carbon-based materials, and so we're reducing the amount of carbon dioxide in the air.
Yes, the carbon's been drawn down by the biomass, and when it's burnt and the woody materials turn to charcoal, that's permanently sequestered.
Now, one of the other advantages about burying charcoal in the soil is that it has some advantages for the soil health, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. Here's a bit of, this is actually rosewood that has been attacked by a fungus, and all that's left is this incredible bunch of cells and mycella, but I actually use it as an example of, imagine blowing up a piece of charcoal, and each of these little cells that used to be part of the plant now becomes a charcoal high-rise, a perfect piece of a location, tiny little cave. There's a piece of charcoal that you can't see fine enough, but each part of that charcoal that was originally a cell in the plant is now high-rise biota accommodation, basically.
And so what that means is that a lot of bacteria, fungi and other microorganisms can live in that charcoal.
Exactly. There's holes of different sizes, right down to bacteria, up to flagellates, and small animals have been seen in a piece of biochar with hyphae from fungi wrapped around it, and the whole thing is an incredible, massive, it's a coral reef. They call it an underground coral reef. It's a massive biota.
And so its ability to hold that incredible diversity of microscopic life is what makes it add to the healthy soil, the health of the soil.
Exactly. When it rains a lot, the biota can retreat into their little cells and not get leached away. When it's very dry, they can retreat in there, and so it's good for high rainfall and low rainfall.
Now, because the idea of biochar has caught on, we've now got industries talking about growing pine forests so they can microwave them and sequester the carbon in the quest for clean coal. Yeah, have you got any comment on that kind of approach?
It could be a long-term project. There's nothing wrong with growing a dedicated crop to char, but not if it's going to replace arable land. The advantage is in biochar is that it can be made from all sorts of woody waste. Anything that's waste around here, camphor laurel, lantana, all of those products can be turned into biochar, and we can deal with our waste first, and there's a heck of a lot of that before we have to worry about doing plantation. But already in plantations there's thinnings that are just left on the forest floor, and a incredible amount of waste in industry.
Well, Geoff Moxham, thanks very much for coming on the generator. Where can people find out more about your work? Do you have a website?
I have a website called bodgeshovel.com. Bodges were medieval woodworkers. Bodgeshovel.com is where you'll find all this. Or Rainforest Information Centre has got a link to our project.
Excellent. Thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome.